Welcome to Anything New. My name is Pete, and as always, I'm here with Matt
What's up?
and Opie
Hey guys.
and Dan.
I like to party.
Hey.
Anything New is the podcast where we talk about anything new we've been using, perusing, or consuming. This is episode 19. Got a ton of stuff. Cyberpunk 2077 came out this week. I know Dan's been playing a ton of that. Got a bunch of pickups we're going to talk about. But first, since we do every week, and it's wrapping up on the season, let's talk about Mandalorian because it's starting to come home. I think we only got, one episode left?
That's right. Next week is the finale, season finale.
So I want your guys' opinions on what you thought of this one, because I thought it was great.
I thought it was great as well. Normally I watch it on Friday evenings, but today for this weekend, for some reason, I only just watched it just a little while ago, right before this, and I thought it was awesome. Boba Fett with some cleaned up armor. He was looking pretty good.
He got that new paint job.
Yeah, he buffed out some of the scratches. I don't know. I thought I liked Bill Burr's character a lot more in this than I did in the last season that he was in. I thought that was good. I just, like I said last week, we're full on main mission story quest now, and
Yep.
what it was interesting. I wonder if this is going to be a trend where every season at the end they have to find some excuse for Mando to take his helmet off, and we see his face, and we see it just once, So it's like, what's going to be the reason this time that he takes his helmet off? So I don't know. It was just good, man. It was just
it's setting it up because they've kind of done everything that they need to do. Now they know where they're going. I was kind of surprised that they let Bill Burr go. I thought, hey, maybe they need him. They're going to probably an Imperial ship, right? They could use him as like something, to get through the hangar, whatever, they got to do. It seems like but no, they were just like, okay, yeah, we'll just tell people you died. You can go.
Yeah.
And he's like, and then he's just like, okay, see ya, and just walks off in the jungle. Seems like he would have been like, hey, could you drop me off at the nearest cantina or something?
Yeah, no, it's like, wait, he's on a planet with no transportation, food, or money?
With a bunch of crazy people that, which I thought, okay, if you've seen this, if not, spoiler alert, you probably don't want to listen to this part, but so they're on this planet, they're getting some like ore, right? I guess it's like really unstable.
It's like nitroglycerin. That is kind of how I thought it would be.
Yeah, the Empire is mining it, is what was going on.
So they get on this planet, and they're kind of incognito as the Empire. So there are these people that are living on this planet, probably typically peaceful people who are being attacked, and their resources are being ravaged by the Empire. You would have thought that anybody with a little bit of decency might have just stopped and been like, hey guys, we're actually on your side. We don't want to harm you. We have this material, but no, they just kill them. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like they're like peaceful people who are just protecting their homeland.
You're talking about the guys who jumped on
the pirates?
Yeah.
Are you talking about
the pirates?
Oh, I
didn't. Pirates are there. They're attacking the Empire.
Sure. Yeah, it's the same thing that goes with anything throughout history. You've got, you could say that with, when white man moved in on the Indians, like, we're here, we're going to take your land, we're going to take your stuff. Sorry, we have more technology than you have. You can't do anything about it. That sort of thing. But what kind of got me is the pirates were flying on jet-propelled sleds, had thermal detonators, but they were throwing spears at the Mandalorian.
I didn't think about that.
I was like, how did you get thermal detonators and jet prepared? I could see them like coming out of the woods in some big beast or something riding alongside of the truck, but
that would be cool.
Jet powered sleds and thermal detonators. And I don't mean to be like, well, guys, I don't want to be that guy, actually, but they had, who knows how they got thermal detonators, but Mando kind of made it apparent that they had thermal detonators that they were trying to blow that stuff up with, but yet they're trying to pry open the cases with spears and wooden spears.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I thought it was a good episode, really good episode. I thought Mando kind of took his helmet off a little too easy. I don't know if it was just a situation where it came to that. I thought that meant
I think so. I mean, it was that or not get Grogu back.
Right. It just seemed to me like he didn't think about it too hard in the process. But as far as like all the other aesthetics around it, it's just another point to where, after the fall of the Death Star, that the Empire is still thriving, in the shadows, so to speak, because that was supposed to be a quote unquote hidden base that they went to. So it's really, really, really cool that they had that set up. But I mean, the conversation with the captain at the end and stuff, it's like, I guess it's cool to kind of see how the Empire conversates with each other behind the scenes. That's cool to see inside a base like that. Did you notice when Mando was fighting those pirates, how that armor broke and he wasn't used to that? Did that kind of stick out to you guys? Like he made it apparent like he got hit
a little bit.
If he had his armor on, it wouldn't have been as badass,
right. I didn't until you just said that.
But that shattered. He's like, oh crap, he's like, I got hit.
Oh, my best scar.
My best scar is gone.
I did love that he in that whole sequence where he's fighting the pirates on top of I was like, finally Mando is, and this is a little bit of a hot take, but finally Mando is actually doing something himself instead of just like tagging along on somebody else's mission when said we can't do this without you, and then he never really does anything. So,
typically he would have been like, telling Bill Burr to get up there and take care of him, and he would have drove the truck.
Right. And then at the end, Bill Burr would have said, "Oh, thanks, I couldn't have done it without you, even though you didn't do anything." So
I'm going to get a little bit fanboy. This is kind of what I took away from it, but I loved when they got on to Slave One, and like, could you tell like how? Because Slave One's a unique ship. If I go all Star Wars on you guys, like Slave One, I was going to talk about. Yes, it's such a weird ship because it kind of lands. It kind of lands on its back. If you don't know,
what I was going to talk about. I told these guys I had something crazy to talk about.
Oh no, I noticed it right off the get-go. But like, yeah, absolutely. So like, if you're listening and not watching, or you're not a fan of Star Wars, like this ship that Boba Fett drives is not your typical kind of ship. It doesn't have gear that comes down. It doesn't have wheels that lands. It kind of lands on its back, and if you're driving it, you're looking straight up in the air. If you're sitting in the cockpit. And so the inside of Slave One has to rotate around kind of like a gyrosphere sort of thing when it tilts and rotates the way it flies. And when they got in there, and you could tell in the background that the whole ship was rotating as they were taking off, I was like, nerd. I was having a little nerdgasm there.
Dude, I was going to bring this up on the last episode and talk about it, and I forgot. Because that's the same thing as bugged me. Because I had a friend who had one of the original toys, and the cockpit did not rotate.
Oh, really?
Like you couldn't go in and rotate it. So then, after watching this episode and seeing when they were all inside and the cockpit rotated, you just see like the internals of the cockpit.
Yeah.
And I picked up on it too, Opie. I was like, oh my gosh, it does rotate, because it has to, right? You would think that it would have to.
Yeah.
So then I went online and just started like kind of looking it up, and the original did not, but then they made alterations later that did.
Yeah.
And then the Lego set rotates.
I have the original Lego from
the Power of the Force. I guess the '90s toys that came out when they reissued it. It did. I've got it. I actually think I have Matt's that he gave me, but it does have a little lever on the side, and the cockpit will turn. But the cockpit turns, but the insides, like the cargo bay and stuff like that, it doesn't really turn. I mean, you just slide something in there. But in the show, it really made sense, and I'm glad that they pointed that out. That the whole cargo bay and where the people sat did rotate around with that ship, because that is a really. I'd like to know what went into Lucas's mind when he invented Slave One, or if he did it, because the idea for the Millennium Falcon always came from, I think he saw a hamburger. Somebody took a bite out of a hamburger, and there was a pickle on the hamburger. And that was the original idea of how the Millennium Falcon was made. So
they showed the Falcon as like the whatever you would call it, like where it connects to a bigger ship to push it, right?
Yeah, that was it was on Solo.
Solo, right?
Yeah, it was on Solo.
Yeah, because I always thought it was kind of an odd shape, and then when they showed that, I was like, oh, okay, it makes perfect sense. It's like,
well, that was shown. That was shown, but in Solo, it was an escape hatch that shot out of the front. But before Solo, these were freighter ships that pushed freight around.
In Solo, it was more a pointed
It was.
front, and
It
then
came to just an end, and at the end of Solo,
There's one of them. There's one of them where it shows the Falcon.
Yeah,
and it might have just been like
fan. It was fan lore. Yeah,
where that cut in the front, that like square cut, would like hit onto like a ship and like be able to push it around.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was a great episode, and
episode.
I'm so glad that you picked up on that with Slave One too. Did you notice it, Matt?
Well, I didn't notice that, but I did have the thought of, whoa, this is kind of the first time we've really seen the interior of the Slave One. You know, Slave One is a popular ship, Empire Strikes Back and all that. But we've never really seen the inner workings of it. So it was cool to see Boba Fett in the cockpit. And God, Boba Fett's got ice in his veins, man. He's hanging out in the Slave One. You know, you get up to the top and I'll come pick you up. And he's just outrunning those TIE fighters.
That was cool.
Oh, yeah, gosh,
I totally forgot. I was so clapping because when in episode 2, Attack of the Clones, when Obi-Wan Kenobi's chasing Jango Fett through those asteroids, and Jango Fett was dropping those sonic charges, that was the bomb that he drops out of the back. And I love that. For some reason, I love that sound that they make. I knew
I'd seen that before.
That's a sonic charge that drops out of the back. Jango Fett dropped them out to kind of get rid of Obi-Wan in episode 2 when he's flying through that asteroid field, kind of chasing him down. But I love that, and it just destroyed that. It's like it takes all the air out, and then bong.
Yeah, that was
really cool.
Dude, what about the little throwaway line about? So, you know, when they're trying to figure out how to get into this Imperial base, they say that one of the things is once you're wanted by the Empire, they can. They have your face or your DNA or something, and you'll get flagged, basically.
Right.
Yep.
So they're trying, and Bill Burr's like, no, I'm wanted, and I think wasn't it Cara Dune say, no, I'm wanted too, I can't go in. And they looked at Jango Fett and they said, what about you? And he said, let's just say they would know my face, because he's the template for the clones, or he's not, but he's all the stormtroopers look like him. So I thought that was really cool.
That was really good.
Yeah, good episode, man. Dan, did you like it?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Sorry. I think you guys are all a bunch of nerds. No, I thought it was good. Last 2 episodes of Mando I really liked. The other ones were kind of just thrown away.
I kind of thought the same thing. I was like, wow, it's really ramped up in these last couple episodes. Now that we're on, main mission, full story quest.
Yep.
You started a little slow, but it's going full tilt now. I think it's great. And then Mando sending that message to Moff Gideon at the end.
Word.
And being all badass, and he's like, let's because Moff Gideon had said, you have no idea how much the child means to me. But then Mando's like, no, you have no idea how much he means to me, and that, because it caused him to take his helmet off. And like you said, Opie, he didn't even think about it. Well, if somebody kidnapped your kids and said, burn all of your vinyl and I'll give you your kids back, you wouldn't even think about it. You would just do it. So, he'll do whatever it takes.
If you put it that way.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if Mando taking his helmet off is the same as Opie burning his vinyl. And I mean, Opie hasn't been raised on the mission of this is the way, and he must hold his vinyl at all times.
Right.
Listen, Opie loves his vinyl and his VHS.
But isn't it funny that every time that Bill Burr's, and like I've seen him in a couple things, he's just always a fast talking character.
I like Bill Burr no matter what. He just plays a Boston guy. That's all he plays.
Right.
Every time he plays something, that's all he plays.
He was in, of course, he was in Breaking Bad and then Better Call Saul, but he was one of Saul's kind of guys, and he played that type of character, kind of a fast talking, kind of wise guy.
I will agree that he's better in this one than he was in the other one. I didn't really care for the first season of Mandalorian, and most of the second season I have not been a fan of. It has been okay. It just hasn't been really good. And the last 2 episodes I thought were pretty decent.
I'm sorry, Dan's cutting out. Did you guys hear him on that last one? I think we lost him.
Yeah, sorry. Well,
I kept my mouth shut.
I just get all nerd on that type of stuff. And
I know. You're a nerd.
Would you guys think, and because I know we got to move on, but one more question, like, would you guys, I kind of dig this whole Mando and crew vibe.
Okay.
Like, would you mind if, obviously the next episode is the last one of the season, but like if season 3 was Mando and his crew rather than just Mando and the child doing their own thing? I kind of like Mando in a group of people.
I mean, there's going to come a point to where the child gets to where he's going. I mean, it's not like, it's just going to be buddy cop Mando and Grogu, or doing crazy.
I want that show. That's the show I want now.
Crazy galaxy adventures of Grogu and Mando, just getting in all kinds of shenanigans and from planet to planet.
Too old for this, I am.
Grogu gets behind a stormtrooper and Mando pushes him over. All kinds of hijinks that they get into.
I'm sold.
But speaking of shows to watch, and I don't know why we didn't put this on the show note, but Disney just dropped the big bomb. I mean, this is not on our show notes, and we can't talk about it as in length because we've not done it. But it came out that they just dropped a ton of new Star Wars shows that are going to come out, and
yeah, Star Wars and Marvel, they had their big investors conference, and it was more like a Comic-Con thing.
It was insane.
Oh
and some of the teasers that have came out on it are just like. I mean, they can do all kinds of stuff. I don't really see. Hopefully, they do it right. I don't know how they can do it wrong, but I see a lot of opportunity for toys out there, which is bad for the bank account.
Oh yeah, tons of Star Wars shows and movies, tons of Marvel shows and movies.
And we won't get into it, but if you want to look it up,
gosh.
that Disney dropped a bunch of Star Wars, and if you're in tune or listen to this podcast, you probably already know.
Yeah, you probably already know. Anyway, yeah.
All right, well, let's get moving on down the road here.
Yeah.
Matt, I know you and I are huge Saved by the Bell fans. Me more of the original, but it sounds like you might have your hooks in the new one.
Dude, I've seen every episode of the original Saved by the Bell at least 3 times every episode.
Well, that's good because I got a little bit of Saved by the Bell trivia.
Oh, here it goes. Speed round. Let's go. Let's go.
Surprise.
Just dropped the gauntlet.
So Saved by the Bell, they've released a new season, right?
There's a new series that's set, on Peacock that is it's new kids, same school, but all the original kids are adults and
So it's kind of like their version of Cobra Kai, right? Where there's just tons of references back to the old stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Tons of them. So I'll just talk real quick. So this new series of Saved by the Bell, 10 episodes on Peacock. And I watched 10 episodes, they're half an hour each. I didn't mean to. I just let me just try this out. So I watched the first episode yesterday on Saturday, and 5 hours later I had watched the entire season. And let me tell you guys, you guys have given me grief before about liking Saved by the Bell. This show is hilarious. It's so funny. And it's the best thing I could think of is think about Roger Rabbit. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Remember that show or that movie? Mm-hmm. Well, I don't want to say everybody remembers it, but remember how Who Framed Roger Rabbit? It was the Toons doing all these wacky cartoon stuff, but then you had humans, normal humans, looking at all the wacky cartoon stuff, thinking that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Saved by the Bell is like that, where Bayside High and all the kids there, they're all rich and privileged and all this stuff. They're all driving Teslas and all their books are on iPads and stuff. And they're all doing the wacky antics that you would see from the original show, doing all this crazy stuff, pulling pranks, not getting in trouble, all this stuff. But then the whole point of the show is that this sort of lower income, I don't want to say inner city, but just lower income schools, a lot of them get shut down. And so a lot of those kids are moved to Bayside High. So you have all of these quote unquote regular kids coming into this privileged Bayside High where they're doing all these wacky antics, and these kids are like, "What? You can just do that and get away with it? Well, aren't you going to get in trouble?" They're like, "No. Who? Why would I get in trouble? I'm rich, or my dad's the governor, or something like that." So the show is very, very aware of itself. It's super aware of itself. It plays to the silliness of the original show. It's very tongue in cheek. It's very meta. There's a whole lot of references to the old show, but guys, I laughed out loud so much during this whole season. It is hilarious. It's so funny. So Slater and Jesse are teachers at the school. They're actually not as in it as much as you might think. Zach and Kelly are in a couple episodes, but they really do a good job of making it about these new kids. And it's really, really good. It's just so funny. I mean, there's pranks and stuff like the original show, but like I said, it's very aware of itself. It pokes fun at itself. It pokes fun at the old show. It's so good. It's so well done.
Matt, did you watch any of the Full House reboot?
No, I didn't.
Fuller House, none of it?
No.
It was kind of like that. The very first episode, they brought everybody back. And it kind of tried to get, I guess, the old school hooked, but then it kind of trailed off, and it was just, Candace or what's her, shoot.
Yeah, DJ Tanner.
DJ Tanner, DJ. Yeah, that's right.
That's my DJ name.
That's your DJ Tanner. And it was her family, basically, and they brought all the new members in as season 1. I think there may be 3 seasons of that. My daughter and my wife watch it whenever it comes out. But yeah, it was. Yeah, I can see where you're going with it. Just flashing back. Did they do a good job of not overkilling the old?
Yes. Like, it's just everything about it is so well done. I mean, it's obviously silly. It's a comedy for sure.
Right.
But they do such a good job of referencing the old show, but making it about new stuff. They make fun of themselves plenty. There's a lot of references, like little one-liners that, if you haven't really watched the old one, you won't really get it. But it's very, very. I mean, it makes fun of itself so much, and they do such a good job. Dan, there is one episode that I would love for you to watch. The main girl is gonna go to a party, and she's all nervous about going to a quote unquote rich kid party. So she's like, "Gosh, I'm gonna, I want to get all dressed up and go to in something effective. I want to act like it's an episode of Euphoria."
Oh no!
They make when she first walks into the party, they make it look exactly like an episode of that, where all the lights and all this neon stuff, and everybody's dancing all slow, and she's got all this weird stuff in her hair and all this crazy black light makeup in her hair, and she's like, and this guy walks up, "Hello, what do you want to get into?" And they start making out, but then it like snaps out of it, and it shows what's really going on. And she's like making out with an empty coat, in her head. It's Euphoria, It's so good.
Well, Matt, I'm going to totally take your word for it, because if you say something's well done, I'm going to on Netflix, because I watched. Moving on to our next topic, I watched a couple of new shows that we've talked about previously. I caught up a little bit on some Netflix shows we've discussed. One of those being Cobra Kai, which is the show that you said was really, really well done, and I just kind of didn't give it a chance, and kind of got sat down and watched the first episode, and before you know it, there was season 1 gone, and you were so right. And you guys both have watched. James and Dan, have you watched Cobra Kai at all on Netflix?
No, sir.
Just so well done. It's so well done, and it does dip into the movie a lot, but they do it the right way and don't really overkill it and make it cheesy. The main character, which is Johnny in the Karate Kid movie. Well, Ralph Macchio is the co-main character, but it revolves around Johnny's fall from grace and what all he's went through, and he's just hilarious in it. It's just really well done. I'm so glad that I decided to watch it. I'm 2 episodes into season 2, so we'll maybe talk about it when we finish it up.
It gets even better.
Yeah. So, and I also moved on and watched Queen's Gambit. Where I just watched episode 5 today, and I'm kind of watching it.
No spoilers. I haven't got past episode 3.
Right. Well, I'm kind of watching it with my family. It's weird because I started watching Queen's Gambit and really liked it, and I asked my father-in-law's here in the house with us, and he's a big literature guy, and I started doing some research because I wanted to know, the only spoiler I'm going to say in Queen's Gambit is the girl that's in it originates. She's from Kentucky, and that's where I live. It's an hour away, from where I live. And I kind of did some research on it on the book that it was based off of. The writer is from Lexington, and he also wrote the book the movie The Hustler was based off of, and The Color of Money was based off of. It was Tevez. His last name's Tevez. And so I asked my father-in-law if he'd ever read that book. And when I told him who wrote it, he would just kind of went nuts because it's one of his favorite authors. So he started to watch it with me, and we've watched all these episodes together. But it's so good too. I can't wait to finish it up. Just a couple more episodes left, but James really raved about it in one of our earlier.
He was right on that one, because I was like, I don't really know if I want to watch like a chess show, but it's so good. I like that it shows life in the 60s.
Yes.
I mean, I liked all the chess stuff too, but I like I like seeing those period pieces, and especially how women were treated. And, it's
last
great.
Episode,
I hate that I have to watch the rest of it, but
you'll cry.
Right.
You'll sweat. You might Get some flatulence. I don't know, but
There'll be
everything
things
happens.
that'll happen. I want to check it out. I love chess.
And
so
one more
I'm
is
cool
I
with it.
watched
It's good, Dan.
and talking about period pieces, and you're going to make fun of me, but I watched the first episode of the Crown on
Go on.
Netflix too, and I
Really?
like history. I mean, I've not made made that a secret. I'm a big history guy, so I enjoyed the first episode of The Crown. It starts off with Elizabeth's wedding to Philip
Yeah?
and her dad.
Oh,
you know,
that's beautiful.
it's
Yep,
just
they go to
oh my
Africa
gosh.
and all that stuff.
Oh well.
great.
Anyway, I enjoyed that.
After you watch that, you'll graduate onto Downton Abbey, and then we
Oh.
can really have some discussions on here about
Ooh-wee.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
And then you
that.
guys can all start your book club, and it's gonna be beautiful.
Listen, we will never make fun of you, Opie, for anything that you watch on this podcast because we don't want to alienate any listeners. But when we go offline, I have some thoughts about it.
I have some thoughts.
Well,
Pete, did
before
you did you say you watched some Saved by the Bell?
I did, yeah. So over the weekend, I guess to celebrate the launch of the new series, E played like a entire weekend of the old Saved by the Bell episodes. So we had it running quite a bit. So I watched quite a bit of it.
Nice.
Kind of thought about a few questions I wanted to ask Matt for some trivia because Matt likes to kind of flex on us with his Saved by the Bell knowledge every once in a while.
That's the best flex. I mean, if we take it, it hurts us with his knowledge of Saved by the Bell when he flexes that.
Now
Listen, I have nothing else in life. Okay, I'm not good at anything. Give me this. Give me Saved by the Bell.
Wasn't the actor that played Mr. Belding originally from Chattanooga?
Yeah. I saw him at a UTC game one day.
Oh wow! Speaking of Mr. Belding, question 1.
Here we go.
Where did Miss Belding have her baby?
In an elevator.
Boom!
Ding, ding. Great, good job, Matt.
Yeah,
See,
there was an
you're better-
earthquake and it knocked out power to the school. And
You're
Zach and
better.
Tori and Slater had to give birth to the baby. In an
Extra
elevator.
points right there.
Well, actually, it wasn't.
This one's a little bit tougher. We're going to ramp up the difficulty a little bit on this one.
Okay, let's get him.
What was the name of the female wrestler that appeared in one of the episodes?
Oh, was it?
That's a
I remember?
toughie.
Was it Diane?
Close. Christy.
Christy? Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
That's a good try. Okay, let's do a couple more here. Who does Zach go out with to get Kelly jealous?
Well,
Which that could have been a
Slater,
few times.
That could have been anything. Yeah.
Let's move on from that one. Okay, this is a good one because I watched this episode, and I was actually surprised when I saw the actress that played this role. I didn't know. You know, when you watch it when you're a kid, you don't really, pick up on who it is because they might not get a career till later. Who plays Stacy Carosi in the summer episodes?
Oh, Leah Remini.
That's right. Good
Dang.
job. She was super skinny and super young too.
Yeah, she
Flex
was.
on it.
She was
Those
like
two-
a tough New York girl.
Maybe
Maybe
they should ask to say by the Bell trivia at Dragon Con instead of Marvel trivia, since you like that way more than
I don't know
comic
if we
book.
should do it. You put them up on the stage, you just gonna fly off out of here.
Remember that episode, Matt, where they were at the little summer retreat and they had the talent contest and they wanted Zach to vote for Stacy, and then at the last second he turned around and voted for Kelly, and everybody got like Stacy's dad got mad at him and stuff.
For what? I don't.
They were like voting for like a talent competition, you don't remember?
Oh,
that one?
I barely remember that one actually.
Oh,
Never mind.
well, there you go.
But
Dang.
okay, let's move on.
Yeah. Sorry.
What month was Jesse in the Bayside swimsuit calendar?
Oh, was it? Shoot, I don't remember.
July.
March? July. Okay.
Okay, one more. Let me find a good one here.
Jeez.
Now I'm gonna have to go back and watch the entire series so I can.
I'm going to end this one on a layup because I watched this episode really closely too, which I wasn't a big fan of this character. Which one of the girls did Jesse's brother Eric have a crush on?
Lisa.
That's right. That's a kind of layup. We'll end it at that
Yeah.
one because that's kind of easy one. Remember he was chasing her around the room?
Yeah,
She kept
Jesse's
moving
brother
desk to
Eric,
desk.
who was there for 2 episodes and then just
What a jerk.
disappeared and never
And
showed
rebuilt
up.
the car in like 4 hours in the garage.
So stupid.
Hey,
Wow.
he's good. He should start a business.
So
4 hour rebuild your car.
well, good job. You passed with flying colors. You are the king of Saved by the Bell. So,
It's all I got.
all right, let's move on. Hey, we got some video game to talk about. I think something came out this week. Maybe a game that's been in development for like the last 20 years. I don't know.
20 years?
Really?
But
Hey.
Cyberpunk 2077. This is CD Projekt Red. This is like they were pretty much the king of video game developers after Witcher 3, right? And now they come out. This is like their big.
I don't know if that's true.
You don't think so? You don't think that they kind of like everybody?
I believe that CD Projekt Red does really. Their first 2 Witcher games weren't loved,
Right.
but they were good because they play more of a European style RPG, where it's a lot slower and not. How to explain it? It was people didn't enjoy the combat within it, and then Witcher 3 came out, and that they kind of hit the map big time with that. Yeah,
Sure.
It's revered. I agree with that, and it's one of the best RPGs of the 2000s. Witcher 3, it's up there in the top 10 probably.
So I think Dan's the only one that's played it extensively. I haven't even bought it yet. Have you guys?
No, I haven't bought
Matt
it.
or Opie, have you got?
No.
We don't have
No.
it. Dan, you played it. You got quite a few hours into it. I
Yeah,
know
I got
there's
about,
a little bit of controversy depending on what platform you play it on. I know you're playing it on PC, so you probably don't have all the bugs and graphical issues that the Xbox One and PS4 people have.
I feel like people dump on something that's big like this, and I mean, Red Dead 2 came out the same way. Witcher 3 came out the same way. Any Assassin's Creed does this all the time. It's not anything new that a game does that there are bugs.
Well, then
in
it
the
shouldn't be on
giant
this
world
podcast if it's not anything new.
See what
Huh?
he had to do.
Huh?
He had to do it. Go ahead, Dan.
But the point-
Go ahead.
bugs and glitches like that, or even broken quests and things like that, happen in every massive game like this because it's such a massive undertaking to produce it, and so not everything can be caught. And then if you're not going to have a huge audience that beta tests it, I mean, there's things that you're going to miss.
Well, let me ask you this though about
Go
that,
ahead.
because that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, today's day and age, it's just, back when we
It
were kids,
sucks.
a game came out and there weren't really bugs, and if there were, you just lived with them because there was no way to patch or whatever. But now we've gotten into we've grown accustomed to games being released with bugs, and they'll patch it out later. However, I wonder if maybe people are being a little bit harder on the bugs in this one because it was delayed like 2 or 3 times already.
Maybe. I don't know. It was only
I don't
delayed
know.
twice. It was only pushed back twice. The first time due to COVID and everybody switching, and the second time just to work on the PS5 and the Xbox One Series X, so that it would have good launches. And they were both stated in statements by CD Projekt Red exactly why they backed each one of those up. So, yes, there was more polish. There was a 58 gig patch that hit the day of the game coming out, and then there was another 5 gig patch on Friday that patched a ton of their bugs on their first patch. So, yes, there's issues. I don't judge a game by the issues. Yes, glitches can sometimes pull you out. Like I had a guy that just kept standing up and sitting down while he's talking to me the whole time. Like, is this guy? He's just busting
He's just
it out.
working those
Just getting
glutes.
Yeah, it's straight up, man. Just get it done. And he's up and down and all this stuff. And it's like, okay, whatever. And but I haven't had a broken quest. I haven't had some kind of crazy like dancing creature that's on a planet No Man's Sky standing on its head and popping around. I haven't had, like in Red Dead, the bobcats come dancing through, standing up on their heads, come skating through. So I've not seen any of that. So I mean, there hasn't been anything that's been crazy. Today, I think I was playing, and I think Johnny Silverhand's character had said something, and that dialogue was stuck at the bottom the whole time I was playing the game for the next 2 hours. It was on the bottom there, but all the other dialogue kept coming in and just push it up and then it would go away and push it up and go away. But that dialogue stuff. But I think it was because of my save point where I was fighting these 2 twin cyber guys I have to fight for these boxing matches around the area to get more street cred. I got to fight these guys all over the place. And I think it just got caught there when I reloaded the game. So when I get back in, I'm sure it's not going to be there. But that didn't bother me. It was just there.
So what do you think? Do you like the game? Are you enjoying it?
So I mean, in all actuality, I guess I have put a lot of time. I'm a single guy, so Dan's put 20 hours in.
Okay.
Yeah, it came out Wednesday. I played for about 4 hours on stream Wednesday, and then I played a little bit on Thursday night while we watched the Video Game Awards. And then Friday, I went to old man sleep time early, went to bed. And then Saturday, I streamed it for 9.5 hours, and then today another 4 this evening. But the first 2 days, I was not excited about it. It was good. There was stuff to do and things to do, but I didn't really know what to do, and I sucked at everything. Everything is very in depth and very deep, from the menus to just the conversations you have. You've got to know the lingo of the city. You've got to understand what he's talking about, from the cyberware to the cyber deck to the BDs, the brain dances to this other thing. And they're all talking this way in the game. You have to learn it on the fly. And I didn't do any research beforehand. I wanted to go completely just straight in, not knowing anything right off the start. And so the first couple days, I was kind of frustrated because I sucked at shooting. I sucked at being sneaky. I had very no quick hacks. And I didn't understand half the stuff. I was still finding menus going, oh, cool, sweet, another skill tree hidden inside a skill tree inside a skill tree. Okay, cool. Let me go down this one. And then Saturday, I took a break from doing some of the side stuff. I just started playing the story and found out that I hadn't even started the game yet until this major moment happens. And the story is really good. It is really, really awesome. It is so Blade Runner, sci-fi, just pure. The world just really sucks, but you're a pretty good guy, even though you do bad things. I guess a lot of people compare it to GTA, but in GTA you just play a bad guy. The main villains are your cops, and I never felt comfortable playing that game a lot online or playing the story in GTA because of that. In this, Night City sucks. It's a terrible place, and there's gangs everywhere, and it's awful. But I actually go around and do all the help the police.
Yeah.
I've been helping them out and clearing out gangs and killing bad guys and going to help people get out of the city and things like that and moving things around. So it's a bad city that I'm doing good things in. But the story becomes really, really cool, and it really hit a really threshold just right at the start. You play V, this guy with your buddy Jackie, and you can start as a nomad or as a street punk or as a corpo. And I started as a corpo, so the different worlds that you come from. So you have a blanket, kind of a look at where you start from, and then you go. The storyline kind of connects, and you all play from the same point on. And then from there, it goes to this moment that you get caught seeing something that you shouldn't have seen and learning something you shouldn't have learned. And then it goes to crap from there. and that was 10 hours in. It didn't even start that until, and then the screen comes up with Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh my gosh. I was gonna ask, is it one of those where you feel like you're so far in the game, and then all of a sudden the opening screen comes up, you're like, what?
Red Dead 2 did that.
Red Dead's like 3 or 4 hours in when you finally get the camp going. It was Red Dead Redemption 2. But this is the same thing. You get about 7, 8, and it could have been shorter for some, because I just kept doing side stuff just to learn how to shoot and do things. But I get through the storyline on Saturday, and I'm doing this stuff, and it's super awesome, and I'm enjoying it. And then I keep pushing that ahead. But then the map is not as big as Witcher, but it's a massive city of just tons of people doing all kinds of things, and there are quests and things everywhere. And you could do those to gain level. So right now my street cred is level 20. Just, whatever. It's cool. I'm just awesome on the street. People know me when I walk down the street. It's pretty awesome.
And they're doing the game too.
Right. But you got to find these, you have to get street cred to be able to buy certain cybernetics, so you can get eye implants or frontal cortex implants, or like tonight I came upon a Ripper Doc, and Ripper Docs are the guys that'll do the cyber in pieces for you. And I was just perusing all his pieces that I can get, and I found a legendary skin 200 armor, and I'm like, whoa, oh my gosh, and I got the money, so I bought it, and now I have plus 200 armor on my skin now, which makes me even more survivable in there. So
let's say you got a thick
feel
skin.
Really weak, and then when you start learning how to play the game, and learn what to do. Like now I have a cyber deck, which is this thing that allows me to do these
Whoa.
Whoa.
Cyber
A
deck.
cyber deck.
Okay, so-
cyber deck.
Okay.
Got it.
You do get to adjust your genitals during the creation screen.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
heads up. And I'd have I changed outfits on the stream one time, and my junk was just hanging out there. And of course, Pack Rat decided to clip that because that's the only thing you can clip.
I gotta watch that.
So now there's a clip of my junk from Cyberpunk. Anyways,
Yeah.
so you get this cyber deck that allows for these quick hack mods that you can throw in it, and then these quick hack mods allow you to do these abilities on the fly to hack things while you're in the middle of combat. So at first I still suck at stealth. I'm terrible at stealth in the game. I'm really, really bad. I can't figure out how to do it. I'm just really bad. But you can hack and breach the opponent and reset his cybernetic eyes so he goes blind for 7 seconds, and then creep up on him and take him down. Or I can go into my scan mode and start a soda machine for pumping out cans so everybody walks over to it. Or I can make a ping so one guy comes over to me. Or now I've got this brain burnout thing that I use that's a power that actually damages them from a distance. I hack them and I burn their mind for like 300 damage. And it's super awesome because they still don't know where I am. But I can hack in and jack into each of these people and take stuff and hit them with things, and they don't know what's going on. And that is where the game is just beyond awesome.
Can you go rooftop to rooftop and give your friends free cable?
I can. So as you run around, your athletics get better. As you jump more, you jump better.
Seriously?
Yeah, as you use.
So it's like Crackdown.
It's like the old Skyrim games. What you use improves what you have.
Okay.
So I use a lot of assault rifles, and my assault rifle levels up. Now, this is going to get a little deep. So you have your regular stats that you give in these 5 trees of tech, intelligence, reflex. You have a cool tree. That's your stealth stuff. And then athletics. But then each of those have different branches that you can click on. And in each of those branches is skill trees that pan out that you can go into and individually slot perk points to increase certain things within that. So that's what I'm telling you. Menu inside a menu inside a menu inside a menu. And then that's just the level points and the perk points. Then you go over here to your cybernetic self, where you have like 4 slots for your frontal cortex and 4 slots for your skin, 2 slots for your legs, 2 slots for this. And then you insert those cybernetics, and then in those cybernetics are mods that you can get to increase different things within those cybernetics. It is insane how deep each menu gets within it. But the funnest part to me so far has been getting my cyber deck, getting like 6 slots in it to add 6 mods or 6 abilities that I can use in quick hacking mode. And that when I take on a place, I can walk around the area, figure out who's looking where. I can scan and mark all the targets. I can send, all right, I'm going to send, I need to hack into the system here. That's going to reveal where all the cameras are. All right, now I need to take out and I need to remote shut down these cameras. Okay, now I need to get this guy to bounce over here. So I'm going to send him over here. Then I'm going to hack him so he can't move so I can shoot him in the head with my silencer and kill him. And then I'm going to go over here, hack this guy's eyes so I can get behind him and get over to this thing. That's insanely crazy and awesome at the same time that you're doing all this in combat as it's going on. So, I mean, that's super cool.
So is there a lot of, I know it's not an action game, but is there a lot of opportunities for actually gameplay and action, or is it real heavy story, reading, listening?
So, no, everything's voice acted. So that's great. As a matter of fact, I ran into Carnage. His character's one of the first ones you see, and he's this crazy guy out in front of this building yelling about the end of the world and these creatures that are taking us all over. And the only thing you do for him is you give him money. So I'm just like, every time I go by, I was like, oh, I got to pay my streamer. Let me throw him another $100 there.
Keep on going. More donuts.
Yeah, because he'll preach to you, and he's like, you're a fucking awoken person. Would you help us out? And blah, blah, blah. And then you pay him a little. The story is heavy, but the story's really good. So you're with your buddy Jackie, this thing goes down. All of a sudden now there's this Johnny Silverhand guy that's in your head. And you don't know who he is, but it's Keanu Reeves character in the game. And then you're caught in the middle of this thing that's going on that you weren't expecting. And I mean, you're absolutely upset because things have become really serious for you. And you don't know what to do or how to take care of it. And there are some people that are helping you. you don't know who to trust depending on the dialogue choices that you go with. Like one girl, Evelyn, I speak with earlier in the game, and she introduces me to Judy, who teaches me about brain dancing, which is a whole nother thing we can talk about. But you talk to Evelyn, and she talks to you afterwards, like, why are you going to this guy? We can work together, and we can use the money and go off and do our thing. And that'd be really cool. And you have to make a decision, like, do I stay with Dax or do I take her side? And then later on, that has repercussions depending on how you choose and what happens to either of those characters. And then later on, you have to make better with those people. So the story is really good, and it is long, but the action points can be really exciting. Like I said, I suck at stealthing, so most of the time it comes down to a firefight. I'm usually sniping or using an automatic rifle, just gunning people down.
Well, how's gunplay? Because you're a big Destiny fan, so you're first person shooting here.
It's not Destiny good. It's not probably Call of Duty or Halo good. It's good, but not great. The guns are really bad on recoil or moving from the target really bad. Like most of the guns you use, even if I'm on mouse and keyboard, you've really got to hold that mouse steady. Like they'll peel off to the top right or bounce off, and you've got to kind of even in full auto and things like that. It's not terrible. I still enjoy it, and you can really peek a corner like in Counter-Strike or in Valorant, where you can really tightly get somebody just peeking their head off the window of a car, like 3 cars down in an alley. I can see that guy and put a shot in him. So I can really peek a corner and take him down. But when things go to heck, I usually die. I'm playing on hard. So when things go to heck, I usually die a few times. The good thing is it usually starts you right at the beginning of that again. It does a really good job on the quick checkpoints. But the action get really intense. Like I've had to do some side missions where I've had to take down like a cop who lost his medical coverage. And he lost his job, which lost his health care, which then he couldn't pay for his medicine that he needed because he had cyber psychosis. And you learn all this in email that you have to dig up for a person you run missions for. And he ends up going insane due to cyber psychosis because these implants and things can cause really bad issues with your mind. And you have to take him out. And he's a boss. And then there's another one that's she tried to do a brain dance and she ends up going cyber crazy and kills like a bunch of people in this warehouse, and you got to go take her out, or you need to go steal something from over here, or you need to go help the police in this area and clear out a gang group or things like that. So a lot of stuff there. I know if I'm going long, you guys can cut me off, but that's just,
but I mean, is there a lot of action though?
Yeah. Okay. Every area you can go to, you can go in stealth. You can go in guns blazing. You could just do melee. Get gorilla arms, these big old cyber arms. And just
I didn't know if
compared to Wildlands, Dan, is it Wildlandish?
What do you mean?
Ghost Recon.
Well, I know the game.
Well, you can go in stealth. You can go in guns blazing. It's an open world map. You got stuff to do.
Yeah. It's Witcher-esque. The side, everything is available. There's all kinds of icons on the map. There are blue hexagons, which are all these police events that are happening, from taking down a guy that's wanted to taking down a group of bad guys in an area. There are yellow quests that range from you robbing a place to escorting a person out to hijacking an item, or maybe just putting a marker on a car. I had to go to a shipyard to just mark a car, and I wasn't able to be seen by anybody the whole time, which I failed multiple times, and I still haven't finished that one. To taking out a cybergenetic person that's just gone crazy. And then you have the main story that's going on that you're going through that is pretty intense, that you can go back to, that actually has like multiple branches. So I can go and, like, one quest I have right now, I can go talk to a certain person, or I can go to the Afterlife bar and talk to a person, or I need to go talk to this other person. And all 3 of those parts are all part of the main story, but they're broken up that I have to go to different parts of the city to see. And like I said, there's tons of icons and quests. If you go back to the stream, you can see it when I pull up the map. It's just icons everywhere.
I love maps and icons and stuff. So maybe I should play this.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's. Assassin's Creed probably is. How to compare it? It's like that. There's a lot of open spots, and the action is a lot of fun. But I think the better part of it is I really like going in and being as stealthy as I can, as long as I can, and using all the quick hacking abilities to take things down. That's what I
Yeah,
wanted.
that sounds awesome.
That's super awesome to me. And
that's what I would like to do.
There's like I know I have to go into the cool tree because I need to put points because there's a point there that gives me 25% extra damage to silence guns while I'm being sneaky. So I do a lot of sneaking and I use silenced weapons all the time. So I need to go perk in that. But I needed to put a lot of things in athletics to get health and all these other things. So you'll break up the way you play. But my main two trees I put all my points in is tech and intelligence. So I can hack. So I can only hack so long because I only have so many slots of RAM that I can run. And when I spin those RAM on a target, I have to give that time to recover to get that RAM back to be able to hack on the next person or be able to use that ability again, depending on how much RAM is needed. So yeah, it's insane. It's really, really cool though. It's a lot of fun. Tonight I was even having a blast just doing side quests, I had to go steal a van, then I had to help a guy out that I couldn't help before. I got a new automatic rifle, which is super it's super awesome. So yeah, it's good game. A lot of stuff there.
Sounds way better than that World of Warcraft Shadowlands that you came on.
That you were just.
I'm going to redact some of my statements. All right, I still stand by what I said, that I was frustrated and I think there was too much going on that didn't make a lot of sense that you didn't have to do. There's a lot of busy work and they didn't make a lot of sense, and World Quest will do that. But I did find the fun the next day, and it was actually in PvP.
Okay.
And that was really weird, but I had a good. But there's a lot more open in WoW now that gives you more availability to do a lot of more things. So, anyways,
awesome. Yeah. Well, thanks for the insight on Cyberpunk. I know I know I'll play it eventually. It'll probably be when there's like kind of a slow period in video games and something where I'll get it on PC for sure. Because I mean, I would love to get it on Xbox Series X just to check it out on like new hardware like that, but at the same time I just cannot hit the broadside of a barn with a controller.
No, neither can I. I tried controller on the PC too, and I just can't, because the controls really mess with me for a long time in this game. But I'm 20 hours in and I've only got maybe 20% of the main story done, and there's actually 3 branching main stories now and only 20% and one of those done and the others are not. It's just, there's a lot to do, and I can't. I was worried at first, but over the weekend, it is so much better than I thought it would be, and I'm having a lot of fun.
I just want to go watch that clip of your Cyberdong hanging out.
There you go.
Thank you, Packrat, for capturing the Cyberdong.
That's on. You can find that on Dan's Dan's account.
Only Dan's.
If it's in TOS of I don't know how that works on Twitch. When I had to create it, I turned the screen off.
Twitch's TOS says that if it's within the game and it's if it's not an overtly sexual game, if it's part of the game like the boobies in Witcher or whatever, then it's fair game.
I think we do need to talk real quick about that because it's not the first game where you've been able to adjust your genitalia in the character creation screen.
Yeah,
but I think we've talked about this before. The Scum game that came out like about a year or so ago. Yeah, where you could do it in that game when you're creating your character. You could adjust your, nether regions. Mm-hmm. But the kicker, like it had like a slider, like say like from 1 to say 10. We'll say, right?
Yeah. So Conan Exiles does that too.
That 10 would be we'll just say the greatest value that you could adjust your nether region. But to people who pre-ordered like the collector's edition, you got a special code where you could adjust yours to like 15. So like as you're running around, you could tell the people who were the collector's edition.
So your actual e-peen.
You're right.
They had larger e-peens.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah, if you got the more expensive edition, it really did make your e-peen bigger.
Exactly.
As opposed to, just.
Well, I think there's only two penis choices. I think in the
such is life.
Right, and then there's only I didn't look long. I just was like, click, boom. Okay, I have a penis. Go on, let's go. I don't really care about my junk.
Well, let's cut to brass tacks here, Dan. Is it cut or uncut? Just give me that.
It's cut.
Cut. Okay. Well, I mean, if you're playing, I wonder if like the European version. I wonder if it's uncut.
They have an uncut and cut version. I think those are the only two choices that you have in the game.
Oh, okay.
It's not like you could go, boom, I got a third leg.
Is there a cybernetic penis mod that you can get later? Like you can get a cybernetic hand or a cybernetic scrote.
I freaked out though when I was playing, and I took an outfit off. It was like, oh, I can unequip this. Let me unequip that. Boom, naked guy. Oh God, the pants on.
That's awesome. All right, let's move on. Dan, thanks for the little roundup of virtual junk and video games. Appreciate that.
Welcome.
Matt, there was a comic
that you
wanted to kind of talk to us about.
Yeah, I wanted to bring this up because it actually kind of fits in y'all's wheelhouse too. It's a comic called Die, D-I-E, Die. And I actually read this one on accident because I thought it was going to be another one, which I'll talk about whenever we get to pickups. But this comic gave me a little bit. So think about the old Dungeons and Dragons cartoon.
Okay.
Mix in a little bit of Stranger Things and maybe a little bit of the It sequel. Jeez. And you have this comic. So basically, I only read the first issue, but I have the first 3 trades coming in the mail this week. Basically, long story short, excuse me. A group of 6 kids back in 1991. They're big into Dungeons and Dragons, and they get together. One of the kids has like this special set of die, and he said, "We're going to play a special game. Each of you create your own character." So one guy, and they all create different kinds of, whatever characters. And he says, and each of you are only going to get 1 die. So one person got a D4, one person got a D6 or whatever. And they just each got 1, but they were special. So the beginning of the comic, or probably the first half of the first issue, they all create their character. They get this special die, and then they vanish.
Oh.
Like the die start glowing and they vanish. And then the next page it says 2 years later, and all of a sudden, boom, they come back and they're like in the middle of the road, and this car nearly hits them, and a woman jumps out and says, "Holy crap, are you guys okay? Where'd you come from?" And then she says, "Wait a minute, aren't you those kids that disappeared 2 years ago?
What?
And why are there only 5 of you? Where is the 6th one?" And then it flashes ahead to 30 years later or something. I can't remember exactly. But then, and they're all adults, and they've all grown up. They've all started doing their own thing. So that's kind of like where it's like, if you think about It Chapter 2, they went through this crazy thing, but then they've all grown up. They have their own lives. And one of the kids gets in the mail, gets the kid who is missing, his die comes in the mail with a mysterious note. So the adult now who gets it has to summon all the other kids, pull them back together, and show them, "Hey, we got this die. I got this weird die in the mail." And they're like, "Oh, I wonder if he's still back in that world." And they say, we can't, they can't talk about what happened. And at the end of the first issue, they vanish again.
Oh, geez.
So basically, die as in D-I-E.
Yeah, D-I-E. Yeah.
Like a rolling die, like a 12-sided die.
Yeah.
So basically, so I've only read the first issue. I've got the first 3 trades coming, which is probably like the first 15 to 18 issues or something. And but basically, it's a story of these kids vanished into a Dungeons and Dragons. So almost like Sword Art Online, the anime, like they get sucked into their game, even though it's not a video game.
Right.
They vanish into this Dungeons and Dragons type world when they were kids. They come back 2 years later. We don't know what their time was like there. When they grow up, they get sucked back into the world, and you see them in their character selves in this world, but they hear this voice, and it's the kid who disappeared, who didn't come back with them.
Oh,
you don't see him, but you hear this voice, and he says, "I am the Grandmaster now, and you're not leaving until you finish the game."
Whoa.
Oh, geez.
And so I guess the story is them in this D&D world having to, quote unquote, play the game and get out. So it kind of made me think of, Dungeons and Dragons, the cartoon,
or
how it was canceled after 1 season, and we never knew if the kids got back or not. There actually was there is a, based on like original scripts and stuff, a group of fans actually did make the mythical last episode, and at the end of that, the kids get back to their own world. But if you think about that cartoon. The kids go through the roller coaster, they get sucked into the D&D world, they come back. But then think about it, if one of those kids didn't come back and they were gone for 2 years, and then they grew up and then they had to go back. So it's basically that. It's basically these people getting sucked into their D&D game. But when they get there, everything's real. Dude, the art's real good.
Some images, it looks really good.
Yeah. So it's called Die. It's Image Comics. I think it's Kieran Gillen who writes it. Not Karen Gillan, who from like Doctor Who and Guardians of the Galaxy, but yeah, it was really interesting. Like I read it on accident, and after I read it, I was like, I got to find out where this is, and I ordered the trade paperbacks right then. And the third one comes out this week or next week, actually.
December 22nd, it comes out.
Yeah, that's when the third one comes out. So I'll get the first two, I think tomorrow actually, and then the third one I'll get right before Christmas.
Have you guys watched
I can't wait to read
a lot of
that.
sword art online?
I just thought I want to bring it up because it's like, again, I always talk about how comics are way more than superheroes, and there's all kinds of good stuff out there. And we've all experimented with D&D before, and we're kids of the 80s and the cartoon, and so I just kind of thought
the cartoon
fit in that mold.
Had no idea what D&D was and loved the cartoon. It's probably amazing how many kids know that cartoon and never really got into the D&D itself.
And the video game.
Yeah. I love the cartoon. Watched every episode. And never played D&D.
Those episodes when the portal would open up and you'd see the carnival and then they had a decision to make. You remember those episodes? It's like, oh God, are they going to go back or just go back? And it always aggravated me that the main dude only had the one horn on his helmet. I was like, why does he not have two horns on his helmet? When I was younger, I couldn't understand that.
Now, one thing I'll say real quick, the characters they make aren't your traditional warrior, mage, barbarian, whatever. They create different kind of characters.
Probably a bunch of moonkins or something.
One girl, well, I mean, they're like human looking, but one guy creates a female character. So when they get sucked into the game, he is now a she. That's kind of cool.
Couple of.
Well, I mean, D&D, you have your base characters, but they go into other classes within that. You can make all kinds of cool, neat people within there.
Yeah,
but this was, man, it was super cool, man. I really liked it.
Awesome. All right, let's move on to some pickups this week.
What?
I know you guys probably broke the bank again.
Nope.
What?
Nope. So that's why I'll go first because mine is super quick. So you know how I said I read that accidentally? Well, because I was looking for a comic called Die, 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 which is what I was trying to read.
Ooh.
I heard about this comic called Die, 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 and when I saw Die, I was like, I wonder why people repeat the name 3 times when they say it weird. And then I read Die, and then I was like, that's not what I expected. And then I saw, oh wait, this is a whole different comic. So I got the first trade paperback of this today. I read the first 2 issues digitally, but this is the first 8. This is written by Robert Kirkman of Walking Dead fame. And it is basically, let me just read the back super quick because it explains better. It says, we don't like to admit it, but this is an evil world where evil people do evil stuff all the time. Thankfully, there is a secret cabal within the United States government that works outside our normal system to influence world matters through targeted assassination. So if you're hurting people, somehow making the world worse than it already is, or even just standing in the way of something good happening, someone right now could be giving the order for you to die, die, die.
Ooh.
So it's basically like this Black Ops kind of thing, but it's not like this whole team. It's just like a couple of guys. But this real black hat, Black Ops type government group who, they don't just like straight up just like plan to assassinate somebody. They like meticulously figure out, well, if I take out this other random guy, that's going to butterfly effect. This person won't do this, which will cause this person to not do that, which will cause this official not to get reelected because he's doing bad stuff or whatever.
Gotcha.
So, but it's really like, Dan, I know you've looked through the Walking Dead comics, like you've read a bunch, right? Remember how pretty graphically violent they were?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This is the same way, but in like full color. I mean, there's like blood.
I mean, when we were reading Walking Dead and it showed like a dead kid's. I mean, come on. I mean, that was crazy when a lot of that went down.
This is, well, here,
Yeah, the comic is way more intense. The Walking Dead comic.
So is that kind of
Wow.
No.
So this is extremely violent and bloody. Do not let kids read this, but it's super good. Robert Kirkman, he can't do any wrong in my eyes. He writes some great stuff.
Yikes!
And
I might have to get that one. That one kind of sounds interesting to me.
Dude, it's so good. I read the first 2 digitally. I read the next one in this book before we got on, and it's really good. Something happens. But there's like a bad guy kind of maybe infiltrated the good guys, but they don't know. And
I'm gonna get it.
There's a sus in the
he's a little sus.
Sus.
And it's good though. So yeah, this is just more Robert Kirkman goodness. He wrote it. Rockin' Dead, Invincible, that guy. He wrote this. So yeah, got that, and then I picked up volume 2 because 1 and 3 are coming, but I got volume 2 of this story, Amazing Spider-Man Worldwide. This was a good story for a couple of years where I won't get into how, but Peter Parker became like a billionaire, had his own company, very Tony Stark-esque. And instead of like just saving New York, he was worldwide. He was saving everywhere. And so this is a nice hardcover. I love the art. In this, it looks, well, that's not a good page, but that's the page where they're talking about Pokemon. I've already read this, but I love this story, and so I kind of on a whim got the first 3 hardcovers. It's not an omnibus; it's only just like 10 issues, but on a whim, I sort of ordered the first 3 because I love this story a lot. And volume 1's coming from a different place, and I think 3 is coming this week. I don't know. And then the last one, and I'm done, is I got the Fantastic Four Volume 1 omnibus.
That's nice.
Yeah, this is the first 30 issues of Fantastic Four. Even though I've already read all these over on my Comics Daily weekly accounts, I got this because Marvel announced that they're reprinting Volume 2 coming out next year, and they're also releasing Volumes 3 and 4. So I'll be able to have like the first 4 omnibuses, which is like the first 120 or so issues of Fantastic Four in a nice big omnibus format. So even though I read them, I got this because it was actually on sale too, and I figured, let's go ahead and get this. So
and
you're
a degenerate, and you're also a degenerate. So
what?
You're a degenerate comic collector.
Oh right. So yeah, that's it. Just those 3. No figures or no other omnibuses. That was just my pickups.
Awesome. There's some good pickups.
Yep.
Opie, what do you got?
I got a couple of figures and a couple of CDs this week. Got some figures at the Walmart, and I got some CDs at the Goodwill. I picked up from the vintage line, the 3 3/4 inch. I got the armor from Mandalorian.
Ooh,
this is the armor that makes the armor for him, and the one that says "This is the way."
Wait, is that the armorer that makes the armor, or the armorer that cooks the? I don't.
The armor.
Whatever happened to her?
She got attacked. The Empire infiltrated the sewers there at the end while they were trying to escape, and took her out.
They showed him kill her.
They didn't
I don't remember
show her.
I just saw she kind of like was left behind. I didn't see her get killed.
Go back and watch the last episode. Killed. I think her helmet and everything was laying there in the aftermath.
I think you are right.
So.
And I also didn't know they even made that one. Nice.
Now I had been looking for this. This is a Black Series figure, but it's not your average Black Series figure. Which Black Series is usually a 6-inch figure that they put out. But in the beginning of Mandalorian, these were everywhere, and I just kept putting off buying one. But now I'm hoping to get a Black Series Mando to go with this. But I got the child in the Black Series. This little guy, he was.
I didn't know they made him by himself.
Oh yeah, he's not on a peg. They're usually sitting on the shelf, and there's like 12 or 24 to a case, and they were just piled up for weeks and weeks and weeks when it came out, and I never really picked one up. And there was one laying on the shelf at my Walmart. Somebody must have returned or they found somewhere, but he's not your normal one. But I picked up some classic country CDs. At my
so anyway, moving on to the next segment.
At my
so what pickup did you get, Pete?
This is ZZ. Well, this is actually not country, but this is a DVD. It's one of my all-time favorite bands because my dad really liked it. This is ZZ Top live in Germany.
Nice.
So that's something kind of cool from 1980. I got Waylon Jennings live from Austin, Texas, which is really cool. And this is a really good one. I listened to this one on the way home from Goodwill. Remember I was telling you I put a CD in my car the other day for the first time?
You said you couldn't tell
this
me.
was Johnny Cash, The Sun Years, which
Okay.
is really awesome. And then I got, let's see, Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson, Storytellers. Do you remember Storytellers from VH1?
Oh,
When they would do that? Yeah, that's Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson, Storytellers.
It was like their version of Unplugged, kind of.
Yes, that's that. And then I got Dolly Parton, the RCA years.
Nice.
Versions. Oh, shit. Versions 1 and 2. What versions 1 and 2?
Does it have Island in the Stream with Kenny Rogers on
No,
it? That's one of my favorite songs of all time.
That's a good
Dolly
one, man.
Parton, Use Your Illusion 1 and 2.
Actually, Matt, it does. Number 14 right there.
Oh, that's one of my favorite all-time songs. Island in the Stream. Oh my god!
But I like Dolly Parton. There's a good documentary I didn't talk about on the podcast about Dolly Parton's life, and I'm originally from Tennessee, and she's an East Tennessee girl, and I'm an East Tennessee guy. And maybe one day our paths might cross.
Maryville, man, she gave tons of money back to the people when that big fire went through there. She did a lot of stuff for that area.
She's donated like $1 million to the COVID research, and
she does so much good stuff.
Yeah, I like her little line she had. I heard her say one time. She said, "It costs a lot of money to look this cheap."
Yes.
Melissa Villasenor did a great impression of her on last night's Saturday Night Live during the Weekend Update bit. She did a really, really good impression of her.
If you like documentaries, Dolly Parton on Netflix, it's a really good one. I think it's called Just As I Am or something like that anyway, but it goes all the way up through her, being in 9 to 5 in the 80s and all how that went down, and, Jane Fonda and all them talk about how great she is. And they even talk. It's one of the funniest things, and I'll be real quick, but they talked to some of the studio musicians that worked with her on a lot of her albums, and she's married, but her husband has just stayed out of her spotlight for many, many years. That most people that know her don't even know he exists or know his name. That's how private they've kept their marriage all these years and things like that.
Oh, you mean Doug Parton? I know him.
No,
that's Chad Parton.
Chad Parton. That's my pickups, guy.
That's awesome. Dan, I know we didn't have you listed for anything. Have you picked up anything?
I can show the one thing I showed you guys the other day.
Yeah, you did.
Show it all.
You show it all.
Yeah. We got the old Baroness for G.I. Joe.
On
if
the
there's a toy
vintage
series
car.
I love the most, on the vintage car. If there's a toy I love the most in the 80s, it was G.I. Joe all the way. I got her in the mail. That was really cool. I'll be scoping out for Scarlet and the Fang that come out in January.
Yeah,
then I'll only be short the Striker, Storm Shadow, and Snake Eyes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, Dan, thanks for sharing.
There.
Sharing scary.
I got new shoes.
Listen, this isn't a foot podcast. That also can be found on Only Dan's.
Only Dan's.
My pickup, I can't really show it on camera. I've been working, and first I want to give a shout out to Opey. He's been helping me behind the scenes with my network rack this week. So I've talked previously about how I had such a mess in my basement where I had network cable ran to every room of the house, and it all terminated down in my basement. Well, when we built our house, they wanted an ungodly amount of money to fix it up and make it look nice, terminate, all the cables, put in a rack. I was like, I'll do it eventually. So I just kind of it looked like a rat's nest. I just hook up whatever network cable I needed to get everybody connected, moved into the house and working. So now that the weather's kind of turning a little bit sour, I kind of started working on it. And Opie works in IT, does a lot of network stuff, so I've kind of been picking his brain. So I ordered like a patch panel, a network rack, some wire management stuff, just stuff like that, a switch that I could actually mount in the rack.
Did you get the one with the blue and red controllers or just the black controllers?
Yeah.
It's a Switch Lite, actually.
Okay.
No, not a Nintendo Switch, Matt.
Oh, okay. Oh, my bad. Yeah.
This is a Switch for network
Jeez,
stuff.
Matt, you're such a nerd.
So I've been working on that and actually spent a lot of time on it this week. So those are my pickups. Next week, I'm hoping it'll be done and I'll be able to share an image of a before and after.
I was going to say, where's the before and after pics for the put it on the gram?
I will.
Or you
I'll
can put
share
it
the
in the
pics.
Discord if you all are not members of the Discord. He can maybe post some
Yep.
pictures in the
Yeah,
Discord.
that too.
Ooh,
So I'll
nice.
share those images next week, and so you guys can see what I've been spending on my free time. So pretty much that, and playing Genshin Impact and a little bit of World of Warcraft. Oh, this is something that I might talk about next week. But Diane and I started a series called Yellowstone that is real.
Kevin
with Kevin
Costner.
Costner.
Yeah, I've
And
heard of
so,
that.
maybe it's something that you guys could start watching if you wanted to, and we could talk about it. But I'm going to talk about it next week.
Pete, are you
I've seen like previews and stuff that have tickled my interest a little bit.
I think you're holding out on us, James.
About what?
You're holding out on a pickup.
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, I picked up just a little used handheld.
Yeah.
PSP.
Yeah, I saw
a
a
little
picture of that. Yeah.
Glacier White, but it was no big deal.
What's
Well, where is it? Show
let's
it.
see
Okay, I'll show it to you. Hold on.
It's gonna be like you're saying, guys, listen, I picked up this awesome comic that I'm holding in my hands right now. It's so good. Anyway, what are you guys up to?
It's all
Look
awesome.
at that.
The only Glacier White ones I've seen had the one with Darth Vader on the back. There was a Star
Yeah.
Wars series PSP, but that is really good. And you said that's the first gen model?
Yeah,
I like those buttons. Those
you can
those
tell. You can tell
buttons.
by this button here. It says home.
Yeah.
On the later models was the little PlayStation logo. That's the way to tell just by looking at it from the front. You can see.
Did you clean that up?
No, I mean I just wiped off the screen.
Wow.
But it came really cleaned up. Well, the guy had told me that the buttons had been replaced with OEM buttons because they're like pristine.
So it's been played pretty good.
Yeah. I was going to say they look very nice. They look really good on it.
It got
And
played.
the thumbstick had been replaced.
Did
'cause
you-
It's brand new.
And you got a good price on it though. You
Oh
told us.
yeah, it's like $55, $60.
That's a steal.
Yeah, but he had like 5 or 6 of them in all different colors because this is a Japanese import. Like, all the software on it is like all Japanese, but it plays. They're region free, so you can put in any game. So
Yes.
I have. Let's see what's in here now. I played this for a while. Pursuit Force.
Yeah.
It's like a racing game.
Yeah.
Not very fun.
Oh,
Not very fun.
I still
Well,
always
I'm interested in playing that one.
I
but
still
guess
always
not.
wanted to fire mine up and like what Matt said and download Final Fantasy VII, the original one, and play it on the PSP because it's just a perfect. I want to try that.
It's so good. Well, I mean, you can. Well, I know if you get a Switch, I would get it just on the Switch. But
Yeah.
my point was at the time is that Final Fantasy VII is so good mobile.
Yeah.
Being able to play mobile, it's great. And yeah, it runs really well. The PS1 Classic Final Fantasy VII on a PSP is wonderful. It plays great.
So yeah, that's the pickups.
Woohoo.
Dim's the brakes
before we wrap up episode.
That's it. It was an
19?
action-packed episode, guys. Good episode.
Yeah.
Phew, I'm spent. We've been on here an hour and 20 minutes.
Hit us up
Sorry.
on the socials, guys. I'll go through it real quick. We're on Twitter. Okay. We're on the gram.
Well, hold on. We're
Don't
on.
give them any links. Just tell them where you
Okay.
are. Find it.
On Twitter, we're at
You're,
anything.
you're as bad at social as Pete is at pickups. Yeah, hey guys, I got something else this week.
We're on.
Anyway,
Just Google anything. Just get on. Open your browser.
Anything new podcast.
There we go. Twitter at the @ symbol. Okay. Anything newcast. Not anything new podcast, but anything newcast. On the gram, that's the Instagram for you, old folks. It's the olds. We're the olds.
The old.
Anything new podcast and Gmail. You can send us a Gmail. anythingnewpodcast@gmail.com. The Discord and the YouTube. You can just search anything new podcast and we'll come up there as well. But all the links are usually under the YouTubes and on Facebook.
Yeah, we're on Facebook, and Matt does a comic book show where he talks. If you want to find out a little bit more about the comics that he talks about, he kind of reads through these and more comics daily, weekly, right? If they search for that on YouTube, they can find that YouTube channel.
Well, it's just Bumpkins TV. So if you search for Bumpkins TV on YouTube, you'll find all that stuff.
Hey, Corey.
And then Dan streams on Twitch, Level Cap TV, LVLCAP TV. He does
Watch
all
him
that
play
on the
some
Twitch.
Okay,
Cyberpunk.
so
Yeah.
we put
I
our
think
backup
Cyberpunk-
into
Yeah, you
Trina's
can watch
machine.
him with his
Did they not
Cyberdong on his
send?
Cyberpunks.
Didn't we get one in the?
All right. Well,
Also, World of Warcraft.
Did they not
Oh, yeah,
get us
that's-
to get
it's in
one
World of
in the
Warcraft.
mail?
He hates Shadowlands, apparently, based on the last time he was on. So
They're not.
he doesn't
It's
play that.
locked. It's probably
Dude.
locked up.
all
Okay,
right. Well,
we'll check
you know,
there and see if they
we'll,
got one in, and we
we'll
just
wrap
didn't
it up
pick it
for
up. But
episode
I
19.
kind of had a feeling that
Next
they might
week
have.
we got episode
Jason
20.
said it
It's
was
been
in the
20
mail.
weeks since we started.
But
this
if that
crazy thing.
imaging unit's down,
So next week is
thing
the
you can do
last
is-
episode before Christmas. So I don't. Do we
Okay,
want to do some
well,
kind
okay.
of
Well, just let me know if you need
Christmassy
anything. Yeah, that's
something
fine.
that we haven't really talked
Remember,
about it yet.
hey,
Yeah, I think we
that
should.
printer
Maybe
has a
like
funky
best
IP.
stuff for the year, or maybe
It's
a
on its
worst
own
stuff for the
VLAN.
year. Or
Okay,
maybe
got
just
it.
anything that we want to talk about, that kind of a recap on
Cool,
what we
cool.
picked up, played, viewed,
Okay,
Maybe
well, call me if you
anything
need
new.
it. All right, thanks. Bye.
or
Maybe the best of the stuff the new stuff that I don't know. But that we have. There was an episode on there'll be an episode on the 27th as well, which is before the end of the year. So we got to figure out what we want to do for end of the year.
yeah.
Sorry about that. Dan, did
It's
you
gonna be
plug
something
your stream?
Did Matt just did. Level Cap
sorry.
TV on Twitch. Yeah,
Gotcha.
twitch.tv/levelcaptv.
Gotcha.
LVLCAPTV.
Opie, we were just talking about maybe doing something special for next week's podcast, since it's
Right.
the kind of a yearly wrap up.
It is.
Best of something like that.
You know, my birthday was last week. We didn't do anything special for that, but that's okay. We'll do something for Jesus' birthday, I guess, or
Well, I mean, I don't know if you have
it is,
Jesus. I'm sorry.
I mean, it's just.
You got new CDs from Dolly Parton. He's safe.
Okay, name this movie. Name this movie. Well, Jesus was a carpenter.
That's
Well,
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
no.
if you're going to
no.
model yourself
Meet
in
the
anyone's
parents.
footsteps, who else better than Christ?
It's Meet the Parents.
Oh,
That's right.
It's Meet the
What are
Parents.
you talking about Jesus being a carpenter in Indiana Jones' The Last Crusade?
Because he
Two.
gets the
Well, they're going
he
for
gets
the
the Holy
they're going for the-
Grail.
I know,
Well,
but it's mentioned.
He was a
When he talks to Owen
so
Wilson,
angry.
Owen Wilson says,
The cup of a carpenter. I don't think.
and
right.
then, yeah, okay, never mind.
Well, sorry.
All right, I didn't mean it to become a dispute. I
That's
just
okay.
wanted to ask a question there.
Don't
got it right.
challenge me. Listen, Saved by the Bell is all I've got, but I know other things.
I know what to think.
All right, well, you guys got anything else before we go?
No, I'm good.
All right, we'll catch you guys next week for episode 20.
Bye.
See ya. All right, Craig's gone. Thank you, Facebook, for hanging out with us.
Hey, thanks,
Yeah,
Backrad, for being in the
YouTube, for hanging out with
YouTube.
us.
I do my Facebook.
We'll catch you later. All right, we're clear.
Yeah,
on
please.